Greetings. This is Nahoo TV, Diplomatic Corner. My name is Professor Brook Hailubesha, and today I'm in the residence of Her Excellency Ambassador Nezha Alaoui M'hammdi, who is the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco to Ethiopia, as well as to the African Union, to Djibouti, and regional organizations as well. Madam Ambassador Nezha Alaoui M'hammdi, welcome to our show, Diplomatic Corner.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for hosting me, and you are most welcome at the residence of the Kingdom of Morocco in Addis.
Thank you. What a fabulous house you have.
Thank you.
To be honest, it's a lot of history, lots of objects, lots of cultural things that are really, really very, very attractive. And thank you for opening up your home to us to take a look at. We really appreciate that. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Let's start our interview with your background. You are a seasoned diplomat, your career, your education, and your profession as well. If you could share that with our audience, I would be more than thankful.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Once again, you are most welcome, you and your staff, to the residence of Morocco in Addis Ababa. I feel very privileged to share with you these moments, and I'm very also glad to answer your questions and also exchange with you some views. My career in diplomacy started almost more than 30 years ago.
Wow.
And at that time I was a very young student coming from the École Nationale d'Administration, what we call ENA, is a school at the college level that train civil servants, diplomats, and so on. Then I started immediately after I had my diploma. I started working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That was in 1989. In the cabinet of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, in a very small structure called the European Commission structure in the cabinet of the minister. And at that time the team was very small. We were about 5 people working on how to renovate the relationship between Morocco and the European Commission. At that time it was not European Union.
I see.
It was the former structure. And this is how also we had to go into a very long process of discussion and then negotiations with the European side to reach finally an agreement of association in the framework of what was called at that time the Barcelona agreements between Europe and the Mediterranean countries. After that, I was posted to Italy,
I see.
where I served as economic and commercial advisor, and also as a member of the team serving to FAO and IFAD and WFP for almost, I think, 7-8 years.
Oh. Wow.
And then back to Morocco again, Europe. Europe, and this is how I had the opportunity to work again on the relationship between Morocco and European Union, especially European Parliament, and also to be part of the drafting committee about the advanced status between Morocco and European Union. Then I had the privilege to be the deputy director and then the director of African Affairs. And this is how I started also my beautiful journey into my continent as deputy ambassador, and then back again to Morocco, to the African Affairs Department, and then as ambassador to Ghana, Benin, Togo, and then from there ambassador to Ethiopia and Djibouti.
What a wonderful journey, really, what a wonderful journey, and well said. And if I could may add, you know, I did a little bit of my own little homework, and you know, if I'm not wrong, Madam Ambassador, you are the first Moroccan woman ambassador to be appointed. Am I right, Madam?
Yes, you are right. The first female ambassador to an African country.
Yeah.
That was in 2013. I had the privilege and the big honor to be appointed by His Majesty to represent him to an African country, the sister country of Ghana, and then Togo and Benin. And as I said, it's a huge privilege. Yes.
Thank you. And how do you find Ethiopia, Madam Ambassador? Because you have been here since 2016.
Yes.
Yes, 6 years. How do you find Ethiopian people, culture? What are your impressions?
You know, my first impression when I just arrived is that I know nothing. You know, after having worked on African matters for almost 15 years, I realized that I know nothing arriving to Ethiopia because it's a very particular country. Of course, it belongs to the African continent, but it has its own way. First of all, it's a very ancient country, very ancient civilization. So we have to know about it.
True, true.
Secondly, people might be perceived at the beginning as distant people, but it is not the case. This is the first perception. Superficial, very superficial, very shallow. But it is not. I mean, people just take their time to know you better before they trust you, which is very normal.
I see.
But once we get close, it's forever.
Yeah, true, true.
And this is very unique. This is very, of course, as African, we welcome people in Ethiopia as we welcome, you know, people in Morocco or any other African countries. But for a personal relationship or for a sustainable relationship, the particular thing in Ethiopia is that people take their time to know you better.
True, true.
And then it's a strong tie forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
True. Very true. That's a great analysis. A perfect one, Madam Ambassador, really. Now let's continue with really Ethiopia and Morocco, you know. Another rich country with a rich culture and history. You know, the Kingdom of Morocco and Ethiopia in its imperial days before 1974. Even there was a personal relationship between the two leaders, you know, in Emperor Haile Selassie, of course, and His Majesty King Hassan II, you know, and it all started there, you know, diplomatic relations. If you could comment on that and relate with us some facts, historical facts.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, I mean, Morocco and Ethiopia have a very old historical background. Not only because Ethiopia was an empire and Morocco is a kingdom, not only for that, which is something that, of course, can be taken as a similarity, but also because we had a very unique friendship relation between His Majesty the King and His Majesty the Emperor. So, and the second fact that we have to mention is the ambition that the two kings, or yes, the king and the emperor, had for Africa. They are two of the greatest Pan-Africanists in the world.
True.
So, of course, we have Addis Ababa in 1963. Yes. But before that, we had Casablanca in 1961.
Very true, the Casablanca group.
So it's a milestone.
Yes, exactly.
And that reflects the desire and the strong ambition of the two head of states to build a strong, prosperous, and resilient Africa.
True. True.
So, of course, in the 60s, up to the beginning of the 70s, we had a very prosperous relationship between the two countries that we are trying from His Majesty's visit to Addis Ababa in November 2016. We are trying to revive it. We had a momentum through His Majesty's visit in 2016. Then His Majesty's came back in January, end of January 2017 for the return of Morocco to African Union. So 2 royal visits in less than 6 months. It's
Great.
a very big privilege, but it's also a momentum to mark a new page between the two countries. So during His Majesty's visit, which was a bilateral visit in November 2016, we have signed, the two parties have signed 12 agreements.
Wow.
And one of those agreements is concretizing or reflecting the ambition of the two countries to work on a flagship project, which is the fertilizer complex in Diridawa.
True. Yes. Yeah.
And other agreements are covering mainly agriculture, renewable energy, trade, training, and also some agreements are related to how to facilitate investment in both directions.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. And also maybe tourism as well. Ethiopia could learn a lot from Morocco's strong tourism sector, maybe.
Yes, you know, actually, you know, I don't like too much the term of learning. I think we are sharing because, as I was saying at the beginning, you know, when a diplomat or any foreigner comes to Ethiopia, he learns. From the airport, he learns how to behave, how to talk.
Yes, yes.
And also how to be nice without imposing any standard.
Yeah, true.
This is very important.
Very true.
And this is also a part of hospitality industry.
Yes.
When we talk about tourism, it is not only about, you know, potential. Of course, Ethiopia is an amazing country, a very diverse, very rich country in terms of environments, in terms of nature, in terms also of civilization. But hospitality is there.
True. It's true. The foundation is there.
So
True.
I think that, okay, Morocco has some experience that we have developed through this 3 last decades, because we had to plan it, we had to think about a strategy and so on. And this is what we can share with Ethiopia. But the most important is here.
True. Couldn't agree more. I'm glad I put it in the right perspective, really. It's good. You know, what I had in mind was this, you know, tourism. Let's say the last I checked, you know, the facts I had for 2019 is Morocco had 13 million visitors, you know, billions, you know.
Yes.
Of course, we should ask what kind of tourism. Is it the beach tourism, or is it the ecotourism? Is it the cultural tourism? Of course. And Ethiopia, as you said, has a whole lot of things to show curious mind in the world. Europeans, fellow African brothers and sisters, from as far as Japan, you know, tourists can come, and Ethiopia can tap to that, you know.
Of course.
But Morocco had tapped it for decades earlier. So.
But even in Morocco, you know, Professor, even in Morocco, we didn't reach that figure of 13 million from scratch. We had to go through different phases. You know why? Because Morocco, at the beginning, Morocco was a destination for elites. You know, people, well-being people, rich people went to Morocco because it was reserved to a certain social class.
Yeah,
No?
yeah,
Then we realized that there is a market for the domestic tourism, not only for foreigners coming, because at that part, a lot of observers were comparing Morocco to Tunisia, for example.
Yes.
Tunisia, which is also a very big
Yes.
destination.
Yeah.
But the strategies were different. Tunisia had a strategy, and Morocco, Morocco was giving more importance at that time to first-class tourism.
Okay, I got you.
But when we realized that the domestic tourism is a potential,
yes,
and not only for economic reasons, but also to teach ourselves and to teach our young generation.
To know our own country.
Our own country.
True.
Because
Very
most
true.
of the time we realize that foreigners know better our country than ourselves.
Yeah, true. Very true. Correct.
So we developed a strategy for tourism to reach by 2010 10 millions of tourists.
Wow.
And we take it from there. Wow. So at that time, that was in the 90s. And it was also a period or a context where we developed strategies for many sectors. We had a strategy for tourism, we had a strategy for fisheries, we had a strategy for agriculture, we had a strategy for infrastructures, and it was a strategy like a framework for our ministers and ministries to follow, no matter who is in the ministry.
Very true. Yeah, once it is laid down, then whoever comes and goes, it's going to be followed. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very true. Talking about the embassy and representation, official representation, during the emperor's time, Ethiopia had an embassy, then it was discontinued. And I realized that recently Ethiopia has restarted its mission in Rabat. That's a very, very good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for the record, now when we continue, just if you could enlighten us about Morocco's foreign policy, economic policy, what are the cornerstones, what are the principles of the Kingdom of Morocco?
Yeah. So just a few words about my colleagues in Morocco. Ethiopia reopened actually its embassy in Morocco in 2016. And up to date, I had really the pleasure and the privilege to work with Madam Ambassador Yeshi, Mr. Ambassador, Her Excellency Madam Ambassador Yeshi, His Excellency Mr. Ambassador Bacha Jinnah, and His Excellency Mr. Ambassador Esaias Gota, and as brothers and sisters, really.
Very good.
Because I had the chance to work with diplomats aware about a common effort, common work for the same goal.
Wow.
So we worked hand in hand. Good. And this is how we should do. This is my personal belief. Because we have the same goal.
Yeah, the same goal.
I'm working here for Morocco and also for Ethiopia, and the same
thing
in Morocco. Yeah. Cool. So back to your question about our cornerstone. Let me talk about Africa, because this is what interests us.
Yes.
Of course, when His Majesty's the King Mohammed VI visited Ethiopia in 2016, it was a big momentum and a new page that we are writing together. But this is coming into a framework of a South-South cooperation that His Majesty is always stressing, South-South cooperation, and especially between Morocco and its continent of belonging, which is Africa. So in 23 years since His Majesty's accession to the throne, His Majesty has visited 30 countries. and 1,000 agreements have been signed.
Wow.
All around the continent. Those agreements are related to investment, of course, but also transfer of know-how, and also training programs, because we believe that African countries may have, of course, natural resources, natural wealth, etc., but the first and foremost wealth of any African country, it is its population, its youth.
Yes, very true. Yeah.
And if we invest in our young generation,
which are about 70% across Africa, in Ethiopia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we train them, first, we are investing in the future of our country, and second, we will retain them in their country, because this is a big challenge that we are all facing in Africa.
The brain drain,
The brain drains, exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
So all these sectors of cooperation are within the framework of South-South cooperation, because we believe that a country like Morocco, since its independence in 1956, has developed somehow an experience, especially in sustainable development fields, such as agriculture, energy, education, infrastructure, tourism, and so on. And that small experience that we have developed, we should share it. We have to share it with other countries.
True. Yeah.
Because most of the time, what we have developed in terms of experience in Morocco can may be much more adapted to another African country than what can be brought from a Western country.
True.
Let me give you just a very quick example. Electrification, especially in rural areas. Today, Morocco is proud to say that 99% of rural areas can enjoy electricity.
That's a great achievement.
It is. It's a great, yes.
Yes, it is.
You are right. But why? Because we have been going through many phases of experiences. And we have developed adapted answers to specific problems.
Wow.
And what we have achieved in terms of experience, especially in rural areas, we are sharing it, we share it with other African countries. Agriculture. Agriculture, I was talking about strategies earlier. Agriculture, we have developed more than 20 years ago what we call Green Morocco. Green Morocco is a strategy dedicated to agriculture. From A to Z. What do I mean by A to Z? How to know the soil. How to have a map of our soil. How to choose the good fertilizer. The good crop for that soil, specific soil with that specific fertilizer.
Wow.
Within that Green Morocco, we have also very important water management strategy, because we don't have water. We are not as blessed as it is Ethiopia. We are facing drought, especially now. I mean, that we have to cope with the climate change impact.
True.
So water management goes with agriculture strategy.
True.
If I have to transfer it to another country, like Ethiopia, for example, this is what we are doing with Ethiopia. We had 3 years ago a caravan from OCP. OCP is a public company who is in charge of the fertilizer complex.
I see. Okay.
What we call a caravan from OCP. So what do we mean by caravan? It's a staff of experts and technicians going all around Ethiopia, studying the soil to find the good crop for the good fertilizer for the good soil. You know, it's like soil plus fertilizer plus crop.
True.
Beside that, we have also another project here in Ethiopia, Water Management Institute. to have a successful agriculture strategy, of course we need fertilizer, of course we need crops adapted to the soil, but we need also water management. It goes together.
Absolutely. No water wastage. Optimally to use water. You mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is another kind of transfer of
knowledge.
know-how from my country
Very good.
to a sister country like Ethiopia.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So this is what we mean by South-South cooperation. What I can share with you, because I had experience,
Yeah.
I developed a small experience that I can share with you without letting you relying on Western, necessarily on Western or other part of the world experience.
We can cooperate
Exactly.
and exchange our knowledge and resources, creating a win-win situation for both sides. As
Exactly.
African solidarity,
Exactly.
and also growing together hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
exactly.
That's a great strategy, really. And it's also down to earth, I think.
Yes.
It's not somewhere in the cloud.
No.
That's what people need. Agriculture, knowledge, water, energy, water management, etc.
Yeah, and let me just add one
Yeah.
small information that I think we should know. You know OCP,
Yeah.
the public company in charge of the fertilizer complex in Dridawa, OCP started its cooperation with Ethiopia in 2009.
Okay.
You know, Morocco, we don't have oil in Morocco, we don't have gas,
Yeah.
but we have phosphates.
Phosphate, yeah, we
Yes.
have in abundance.
Yes, we have phosphates. So we are exporting phosphates
Yeah.
and fertilizers. So when OCP started its cooperation with the Ethiopian government in 2009, we had to start supplying Ethiopia in fertilizer, but going through a long process.
Okay.
Then we moved to another step. OCP has been granted the right to sell fertilizers directly to the Ethiopian, because OCP was offering the best price in the market.
Good.
Then the two sides, at that time I was not yet in Ethiopia, but the two sides thought about how to optimize that approach. How can we optimize it? Okay, we are selling with the best price fertilizers to Ethiopia, knowing that Ethiopia is 80% of farmers.
Yes, it is.
How can we optimize that approach? We can optimize it by building a fertilizer complex in Ethiopia to produce adapted fertilizer for Ethiopia, but also exporting in the region.
Well, earning money, revenue.
Earning money. Because
hard currency.
Yes,
yeah.
because we know that, according to what we read in official statement and official strategies of Ethiopia, we need to export.
Yes. Yes.
We need to export by transforming what we have or by selling what we have. So that plant, that complex of fertilizers in Dridawa is for the local market,
Okay.
in order to not be always relying on a supplier,
Yes.
but also for exporting in the region or in any other part of the world.
Sure. Yes. That's a great strategy.
Producing something that we can export.
Yes.
More or less like what it is predicted for the dam, producing electricity.
Exactly. And then exporting electricity to the neighboring
Yes.
countries. Yeah. To Sudan, to Djibouti, to Kenya.
Exactly.
Already set up, actually. Yeah.
The same approach.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great strategy because that's a winner.
Yes, it's one of the regulation principle that our companies in general implement.
Yeah.
Once we are investing somewhere, we have to train local staff in order to have the same way of doing things. At the same time, it serves the company, but it's also contributing to the training program that we have in the country. And by the way, in Ethiopia, we have every year, we have 45 to 50 scholarship that we are giving to Ethiopian students to go to Morocco to study. Yeah.
At the university level?
Yes, at the university level. I am now in a phase where I have to see with my colleagues in Ministry of Foreign Affairs and through Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Higher Education, if the offer should still be at the university level, or we have to adjust the offer of scholarship in order to have a part of it for vocational training or any other
institute or vocational, the hands-on kind of teaching.
Exactly, or any other type of education required by the Ethiopian side.
Great.
How to have an offer adapted to what the Ethiopian authorities are looking for. Yeah.
That's good. That will also be an additional force, I would say, to bring the two peoples together,
That's true.
Yes, because once the students come with their degrees back to Ethiopia, they become, in public diplomacy, an ambassador for Morocco, that's life,
Yes,
public diplomacy.
But what...
beyond acquiring knowledge.
Acquiring knowledge, yes, but I see it much more as... how can I say it? A factor of bringing people together.
Yeah.
Because maybe now less, but I remember when I just arrived to Ethiopia, Morocco was a very abstract country, very far away, closer to Europe than closer to Africa. You see, the perception was like that.
Yeah, true.
I'm glad to see now that it is changing. But it is changing how? Of course, diplomacy has its own role.
True.
But any action, promoting people to people, it can be training, it can be cultural programs, cultural exchanges, can help. Can help,
They sure do.
Just in about culture, we had the privilege to welcome the big maestro, Mr. Mulatu.
Oh, Mulatu's Astatke.
Yes, he came to Casablanca to perform in a jazz festival. Yes, beginning of July. And I attend the festival.
Wonderful.
Yes. And I was so happy to see how Moroccan were many and enjoy the performance of the maestro.
Wonderful, yeah. That's culture. It's bringing people together.
Yes,
the best
and
example.
This, this performance in Morocco was a project that we were working on. But the first time that Maestro Mulatu worked with Moroccan musician was in 2018. Here at the National Theatre.
I see.
The embassy brought a troupe, a band.
I see.
Of Gnawa music, traditional music from the southern part of Morocco. And we invite Maestro Mulatu to come and make like a fusion.
Fusion.
Yes.
Wow.
On the National Theatre stage. And it was so nice. And since then we were, planning to organize something for Maestro Mulatu to come to Morocco. And finally it happened in July. And it is how, for me, this is how we can also make the two countries known, closer to each other. Because, as diplomats or as politicians, we can do our best. Okay? But it has nothing to do with culture. Culture, the impact of culture. Or the people-to-people relationship is very important.
Wonderful. Talking about music, by the way, Madam Ambassador, it's really fascinating when you listen to Berber music from 3-4 meters away. And I think that's Ethiopian music. It just blows your mind.
Yeah.
And it's just the similarity, the beat and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great thing, you know. So we in Ethiopia are fascinated by that, and we wonder, you know, where's the link? What's the link, you know? Berber music,
Yes, you
you
are
know,
right.
Moroccan Berber music and
You are,
Ethiopian music.
you know, by mentioning the Berber music, you know, in 2019, yes, that was our last celebration, I mean, physical celebration of our National Day,
Okay.
July 2019. I invite a Berber band
Okay.
to come and perform
In Addis? Here?
in Addis.
Wow. Okay.
And you know, we have in common the Masinko instrument.
Yes.
And before that, you know, anytime I shared the Berber music with my friends, Ethiopian friends, they used to tell me, no, but this is Ethiopian. Okay.
Okay. You can take it if you want.
Okay, no problem. So I invite this band to come here to Addis to celebrate with us our National Day in July. And they came with the Masinko, with the Kra and everything. So that band became, you know, instead of listening to my speech, I mean, that band became the big curiosity of the National Day. And the following day, the social media were on fire because they wanted to understand who owns Masinko, Moroccan or Ethiopian. But owning the Masinko, it's true that the music, the Berber music, but the Berber music from the southern part of Morocco, because we have different ethnic Berber groups in Morocco. It's not only one.
I see.
But the Berber music from Sousse is around Agadir, is in the southern part, is very similar to the Ethiopian music. Why? Because it's a pentatonic music, 5 times pentatonic music, and even the language, the Berber. If you hear Berber from Sousse talking, it looks like Amharic.
Amharic, Gondarinya or
So exactly. So it is. I mean, the legend says that a long time ago, people came from Yemen.
I see.
Through Ethiopia.
I see.
I mean, it was a journey, and they end up in the southern part of Morocco. Because even when you see, I remember, you know, in 2018, I had to celebrate the first National Day here in Addis. So I went to National Theatre to hire the band to come and perform the national anthem.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity to chat with the director, like what we are, like today, chatting with him. And I shared with him some music, because he told me, okay, let's see if we can also perform some Moroccan music. When I shared with him the Berber music, he couldn't believe, because he said, even the attire, the white attire, it is exactly what we find in the Amhara region. Berber people also, Berber dancing is with shoulders. The same.
The same.
The flute. In Amharic, washant. Washant in the Berber culture is very important.
Okay.
So the director was really amazed, and he said, okay, please, we have to think about a fusion between an Ethiopian band and a Moroccan band. So now that the situation, pandemic situation is getting better, and we have opened the borders in Morocco, it will be my next project.
Wonderful. I would love to attend this musical show. That would be quite an experience and quite a show, you know, bringing the two countries and peoples together. Wonderful. Oh man, there's so many things we are discussing, Madam Ambassador. And now let's move on to a bigger thing. Let's move to the Maghreb, you know. You know, Morocco is well known, and it lives with its Maghreb neighbors. If you would like to share some of these cornerstone relations between Morocco and the Maghreb, other Maghreb states. Thank you.
You know, Professor, Morocco believes in South-South cooperation, as I said before. For us, it's very important, because this is how we put together our common efforts to move forward. At the regional scale, we also believe that regional integration is very important.
True. True. Very true.
Even though now we are facing challenges, threats that go beyond regions.
Yeah.
So we have to think about
Yes.
inter-regions or inter-regional
Cooperation.
cooperation.
Yes. Yes.
So for the Maghreb Union, we are 5 countries. We have Mauritania, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya.
Libya. Yeah.
Those are the member states of Maghreb. We strongly believe that regional integration in Africa is something that we should achieve because it will build a stronger continent. At the northern level, when in the 80s the Maghreb Union was born, it was mainly for, of course, regional integration, putting together our efforts, and so on. But now, in the current context, it is not only a necessity, it is an imperative.
Yeah. True.
You know why?
Yes.
Because the cost of the non-Maghreb became too much high
Wow. Wow.
in terms of security, in terms of economic integration, in terms of building bridges about between peoples,
Yeah. Yeah.
and in terms also of facing the threats that are inter-regionals, as I was saying before.
Very true. Yeah.
So the cost of non-Maghreb is too much high, and we cannot afford it.
True. Yes.
Despite any political disagreement that we may have, among our northern African countries or the Maghreb Arab countries. Despite, we should be responsible and we should be aware that the cost of the non-Maghreb is too high.
Too high, yeah.
And we cannot afford it.
Well said, yeah. Well said.
If we face the security threats together by exchanging information, exchanging datas, we'll be stronger.
True. Yeah.
If we work together, sharing information and data,
movement of illegal groups and things like that, intelligence, even mobilizing common military units, you know, to fight the same enemy, I would say. You know?
What I can do, we're talking earlier about our economies, you know? Most of our economies, African economies, were shaped before our independence, were shaped to export to the metropole.
True.
So after independence, we all had to reframe our economy for our own interest, for our own wealth.
Very true. Yeah.
But if we are able to build a regional scale of that, can you imagine the wealth that can benefit our populations?
Exactly. We have much to gain, you mean. We have much to gain among ourselves by trade, commerce, and everything.
Yeah.
Very true.
Exactly.
Yeah, very true.
So this is what I wanted also to convey as a message.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's the way forward, you know, really that's the way forward, you know, pulling resources together, working together, you know, working together for peace, for security, for economic progress. Well said, Madam Ambassador. I'm glad you really touched 100% perfectly in that. This is what we, all Africans, need to follow. IGAD in the east, you know, SADC, or the Great Lake in the center, ECOWAS in the west, and this REC, you know, the regional economic community.
Yeah. Because if we want to achieve something at AU, we have to start from the lowest level.
True.
To make it easier
after that. To coordinate, harmonize our laws, everything.
Even for trade, you know, we have signed, proudly signed the free trade agreements, you know, at the continental scale,
Level.
which is a big achievement for all of us as
I
Africans.
agree, madam.
But
Yeah.
at the regional level, we have to be ready for that.
True, true. That is, I think, the Maghreb group in the north. You have gone way ahead, and others should pick up, follow your speed and your symbolic. It will have a symbolic significance as well. Wonderful. And we touched upon it a little bit, Madam Ambassador, and that is, terrorist groups are plaguing Africa, really. Right here in the east, in Somalia, we have Al-Shabaab, Look, even a few days back, there is this military skirmish, penetrating Ethiopia. And then we have the IS in Islamic State, and Al-Qaeda chapters are in West Africa. Look at Mali, the G5, and France and the G5 and others, Mali, Chad, Niger, Mauritania, they are involved. And it seems we are all faced with such challenges, either one of the two groups. And what is the strategy and the policy of Morocco, addressing this issue by itself as well as in harmony with neighboring countries and in the bigger picture with the African continent?
Thank you for this very important question, Professor. You are right. I mean, extremism and religious extremism and therefore violence became a threat for all of us. I mean, as you have rightly said, that it started in some parts of Africa. I'm not talking about the world, but just focus on Africa. But now it became something that can spread and spill over all over the continent.
True.
We have it in the Horn of Africa, we have it in the central part of Africa, we have it in the SADC region, in Mozambique, we have it in the Sahelian Strip,
Sahel,
and so on. And even though, moving from the Sahelian Strip to the Gulf of Guinea. I mean, countries
Burkina
like
Faso
Togo,
all the way to Guinea. True.
Countries like Togo and Benin.
Even Ghana being affected.
Yes,
you
are
have
now
been in Ghana, Madam Ambassador. Ghana being affected.
Exactly. I remember when I was posted there, we were not talking about that phenomenon, but now it is a reality that countries should also think about a strategy to counter that threat. So therefore, it is no longer reserved or constrained to
a threat for only one, but it has become a threat for all in a way.
A region or a space in Africa. So in Morocco, let me start with what we are doing in Morocco. In Morocco, we have a blessing that is the institution of the monarchy. Monarchy in Morocco is more than 12 centuries. So it's our identity as Moroccan. This is first. Second, the king is the commander of the faithful community. So he is the highest authority, religious authority in the country. Which means that nobody can come, like in other countries, with a fatwa or a rule or something saying that is what the religion is saying.
I see. Okay. Wow.
This is the second. Third, we have always been promoting a holistic approach, holistic response to how can I say?
Threats coming.
Yes, threats or extremism ideology.
Okay.
What do I mean by holistic? By treating first the roots. What are the roots? Roots are ignorance and poverty.
True.
Ignorance of what? Ignorance of our religion.
True.
Our religion is Islam. Islam is coming from salam. Salam is peace.
Yes. True.
So a religion which is called peace.
Based on peace.
Peace cannot encourage violence.
Well said. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we developed more education, training for youth to understand We promote that. Okay.
Yeah.
Beside that, and through the social project of His Majesty for our society, each one has to get its own place in the society. No one should be left behind.
True.
Youth, women, men, everybody.
Very true.
Why? Because this will avoid frustration.
Nobody left behind.
Nobody left behind.
So it's very inclusive, you mean?
It's very
Everybody
inclusive.
included.
And since his accession to the throne, His Majesty stressed on that. An inclusive project, society project. It's very important. And of course, beside that, we have the security answers. Intelligence, capacity to react.
Yeah.
And few years back, we witnessed the creation of a special branch of security
I see.
dedicated from at all levels, the cyber level, the social level, to follow and to detect any threat related to an extremist ideology.
Vertically and horizontally.
Yes.
From the grassroots upwards.
From the grassroots.
Very
up.
good. Everybody included. Taking part.
Yes.
Information sharing, gathering and everything.
Yes, dedicated to that part. So that's why, thank God, we, since I think almost 20 years now, we didn't witness any terrorist activity in Morocco. Yes.
Very good. That's quite
So
interesting.
at the African scale, sorry, just to finish what I was saying, at the African scale, we offer to share this experience. What do I mean by experience? I was talking before about training youth, investing in youth. Okay. Beside that, we have what we call in Morocco the foundation, Mohammed VI Foundation for ulama. Ulama means scholars.
Scholars.
Religious
Ulama.
scholars.
I see. I see. Yeah.
So this foundation is training Moroccans as well as Africans in religion,
Very interesting. Yeah.
men and women.
Very
Men
good. And
and
women
women.
as well.
What we call murshidat, they are female scholars in religion,
I see. Okay.
because a male scholar might not have access to female,
Quarters or
or female
access.
group.
True.
So we trained female scholars to give advice, to teach, to train young girls in order to let them understand properly what is our religion. And in foundation, Mohammed VI Foundation, we have many countries represented. Many countries, African countries represented. I mean, from Tunisia up to Malawi.
Do we have maybe Ethiopian Muslims?
We have, with Ethiopia, we have another kind of cooperation. This Mohammed VI Foundation is also a network of Muslim scholars in Africa and in the world in general. So during the holy months of Ramadan, we invite religious scholars to come and lecture, give a lecture to the king, His Majesty the King.
Oh, great.
And this is a tradition that the late King Hassan II, may his soul rest in peace, started. So during the holy months of Ramadan, we invite Ethiopian scholars to come and give lecture, and also be part of our guests.
Wonderful. You know, you, Madam Ambassador, is really in a very humble way. You know, it's not for me, you know, to tell you what you already know, but Islam has a special place in Ethiopia, as you know. The Prophet Muhammad, you know, he said, go to the Habasha people, you know. So they came here, spent a number of years, the followers of the Prophet Muhammad.
Exactly.
Then they went back, and Bilal, you know, so many things, you know. There is a special, and Ethiopia is one of the first Muslim countries.
Exactly.
You know?
And Habasha for us, because the proper name in Arabic is Habasha.
Habash.
Habasha. Habasha for us is a very special place for us. When I say us, Muslims,
Okay.
very special place. It's a holy land.
True. Yeah.
And it's also the first land that welcomed the Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam
Yeah.
with his followers
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
by Najashi.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So,
True.
and we shouldn't also forget that the Nani, Ayman, was from Habasha.
From Habasha.
The first, how can I say it, gentleman who called for prayer
Yeah.
was Bilal.
Yes.
From
the
Habasha.
Marionette Bilal. Yeah.
Yes.
Allah Akbar. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
was Bilal.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So
And
we have.
Najash also
And-
the holy site in Ethiopia.
It is, and we have two very, of course, the Najashi place is a holy place for
Yes,
us,
yeah.
but Harar as well.
Harar. Yeah.
Harar as well
Yeah.
is a very special place for us. And Habasha is a holy land for us. I mean, not only in the Quran, but in our conscience as Muslims. Habasha is a blessed and holy land.
Thank you. Really, thank you for explaining, the role of in Islam, the role of Ethiopia in the Muslim world. It is time immortal, really. There is a special link that Ethiopian Muslims are also proud of. Christians, Muslims, even Christians are proud that Ethiopia is also blessed to have all three religions.
Of course.
Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. As one. And it has a special place, whether in the Bible, in whether the Old Testament and the New Testament. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Now, moving to say Morocco, compared to other countries, it has based on its children. You have achieved a good level of economic development. Where do you see Morocco 20, 30 years from now? As a Moroccan, as a diplomat, as a stateswoman, its place,
It is exactly the question that I was, trying to answer just a week ago when I was in Morocco. Because I every year back to Morocco, I witnessed something new.
Wow.
Something new. And this new in terms of improvement. Just take the pandemic example.
Okay.
When it happens, all countries, even within developed countries world, all countries were frightened, were scared, worried.
Yeah.
Few of them were able to conceive a strategy and to get means to implement that strategy.
Right away, in a short time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can proudly say that Morocco is part of that countries.
Very good.
Today, almost 70% of our population is fully vaccinated. And how it has been organized, me myself, I have been, surprised but proud at the same time.
Of course.
You receive on your cell phone
Yes.
your appointment for the first dose and the second dose.
Wow.
And after the first dose, you can get your certificate online the following day.
Oh,
The second dose the same.
very good.
And I just got my third dose.
Yeah.
Can get it
The
online.
booster, they call
The
it
booster,
now. Yeah.
you can get it online. With your name, the historic,
protocol, everything.
everything.
You can print it out and save it.
That's it.
Wonderful.
With the QR code,
Yeah.
everything.
It's good. Efficiency.
Efficiency,
Yeah.
and I have to say that Ministry of Health and Ministry of Interior worked very hard
Okay.
together to achieve that goal. So it starts with the lockdown. We had a very severe, very strong lockdown. But beside that, a very efficient and methodic campaign to vaccinate people, and also to explain that vaccine or vaccination is very important, because we heard a lot of, wrong ideas about vaccine, etc., etc. Even for that, we developed a campaign to
make the public aware.
Yes, aware that we have to. We have to. And we shared that also with African countries. We sent many aircrafts full of vaccines, gloves, masks to many countries.
Very good.
Because we start producing those products in Morocco. Because if you remember at the beginning of the pandemic, it was a crisis.
It was difficult.
It was
expensive,
very
difficult, only from America and some European countries.
Exactly. And we were exporting even to Europe, masks, gloves, and those products. Now we are about to start producing the vaccine, because we have finished the infrastructures of laboratories, and it's about to start with the Swedish cooperation.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. So we are about to wrap up our very, very nice and interesting discussion with you, Madam Ambassador. Let me ask you, about the historical relations and the current relations between Morocco and Republic France, of course. Very right there. You use Francophone besides Arabic. By the way, in Ethiopia, we used to use Francophone. My dad studied in French just before the Second World War. And then with the end of the Second World War, Ethiopia moved as an independent country. The leadership, Haile Selassie, said, well, now it's English, Anglophone. So, the kids after that, to this day, we learn in English in high school and in universities. So what's that special relationship with France? There is this, I know, the Mediterranean Cooperation Association or an organization. And how is it still active? There is still Marseille, and that part of France, the southern part is right there. I know I'm exaggerating, but it's right there, Like for us, Saudi Arabia is right there, or Yemen.
It's true.
For you, the same thing. France is right there. Southern Europe is right there for you. Yeah.
It's let me talk about Europe in general for Morocco before ending with France. Morocco is only 14 kilometers away from the Strait of Gibraltar. It's 14 kilometers.
Yeah. So you could see Europe from the other side in a clear day.
Yes.
Or during the night, the light would flicker.
Yes, you can see it. And we have daily ferry boats between Morocco and Spain, and I think is less than 2 hours. Less than 2 hours. Yes.
Wow.
Being close to Europe. And being an African and Arab and Mediterranean country, make Morocco as a crossroads place. Geographically, historically, but culturally as well.
True.
And this is what you can read in the preamble of our constitution.
I see. Okay.
We are Amazigh, we are Berber, we are Arab,
Yeah.
we are Jewish, we are Muslims, we are Mediterranean.
Wow.
And so our identity is one and diverse.
Diverse as well. Wow.
And this is what makes a country, strong.
True.
And resilient, like Ethiopia. Because Ethiopia is one and diverse.
Couldn't agree more,
Ancient
Madam.
civilization as well. True. I was talking about our monarchy more than 12 centuries.
1200, years, 12 centuries, yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So for us, the neighborhood with Europe makes us as the crossroads of many other areas. It helped us to develop our economy. It also gives us the opportunity to lift up our foreign trade,
Yes.
but is part of what we are.
True.
Not all.
Yes.
Francophonie. Francophonie is we are, of course, a member state of the Francophonie organization, but we are also a member state of the Arab League.
Yeah, very true. Yes, correct. Yes, yes,
Right?
yes.
We have been under protectorate, French protectorate, not colonial rule. Protectorate. What does it mean? It means that the king or the sultan, we kept our king.
Was still there.
Was still there.
Yes.
It was only the administration which was ruled by French to modernize. And now I'm using the official, word that has been used for the protectorate to modernize the Moroccan administration. That was between 1911 to 1956.
Until independence time.
Yes. Yeah. So French language also, of course, is spoken in Morocco, as well as Spanish language, as English language. But the first two languages that we use are Arabic and Berber. Then French language comes. But it is not something that is eternal. You were talking about your father's generation and your generation. I can say the same for us. I have been to French schools, but I am very happy to see my daughter in English university.
Wow.
She's studying in English.
Wow. Yeah.
And it is the same for many young Moroccans.
True.
Because they understood that more we learn different languages, more we will be open and aware about the trends in the world.
Interesting. Very true. You know what you remind me of, Madam Ambassador, living in America, until very recent months. Now American schools, not only the private ones, the public ones, they have begun teaching in Chinese.
Yes.
In expectation, given the globalization process, the world is becoming small. Not geographically, but in a symbol, small. The interaction is very high. Some parents have opted in schools, public schools, are offering Chinese in Virginia, in Maryland, in so many states in America. So it fits what you rightfully shared.
Because Professor, learning a language or a knowledge through a language shouldn't be an exclusive.
Yes. Yeah.
Shouldn't be exclusive. True. I should have the freedom to learn in many other languages. As far as I can.
Yes.
Because this is how we can also shape our young generation brain. Because everything is relative.
Yes, everything is relative. Nothing is permanent. Voila. C'est ça. Yeah, wonderful. You put it very, 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 very well. For Ethiopians, for some even, among family members and I myself, reading history, African world history and the like, and at the time in my generation, going to the movies to see one of the movies that we saw was Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart, That was the first encounter about Morocco, life in Morocco, very, very prominent in black and white movie. And also Rabat, Fez. There comes occasions where we pick up facts from here and there about Morocco, this very, very fascinating country, given its geographical location. Now, to wrap up, is there anything that you would like to share with the Ethiopian public? And of course, if you could answer that with how far have you traveled in Ethiopia? What's your impression of Ethiopians? I know I started a bit like that, but to wrap up this discussion.
I have traveled in some occasions in Ethiopia, not as I would like to, because of the work and sometimes the tight schedule. But what I would like to convey to my Ethiopian friends is that forget about the geographical distance and focus on how close we are in terms of habits, in terms of traditions, in terms of cultures. And this is how we can help to understand each other and help also to write a new page between our two countries, seeing each other as neighbors and brothers and sisters.
Very true. Well said, Madam Ambassador. Really, sincerely, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
You know, in bringing the two historical people together, bringing the two governments together, and also, bringing, results, in terms of economy, tourism, culture, energy, everything. May you succeed more.
Amen.
in your position here, and you are doing a great thing, and I wish you once again all the best to you, to all your loved ones, and Madam Ambassador Nezha Alaoui M'hammdi, it was really a blessing to talk to you with all your wisdom and what you have shared in a very open-hearted way, and your hospitality as well, Madam.
Thank you.
And I do hope to see you in another occasion when your time, busy schedule allows you. Merci beaucoup, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hosting me for this beautiful program. And I enjoyed the program. I enjoy this chat with you. And I wish you all the best. And please feel free to come again. This is your place.
Thank you. Will do.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Madam.
Merci.
Merci. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my very quite interesting interview with Her Excellency Ambassador Nezha Alaoui M'hammdi, who is the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco to Ethiopia, to the African Union, to Djibouti, to IGAD, and to the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. And until I see you next time with another distinguished guest, it's me, Professor Brooke Hailubesha, signing off from our program, Diplomatic Corner, in the premises of the embassy, the residence actually of the Kingdom of Morocco, the ambassador. Until I see you next time, I sign off. So watch us, follow us in social medias and the like. Until I see you again, au revoir. Goodbye.